Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fourth Cut Breakdowns. I'm EJ Leeson.
I'm Seamus.
And today we're going to talk about some theories for Scream 6.
Everybody's a suspect. Now, here's a quick couple theories on who we believe are the suspects. Number 1, Mr. Loomis. Now, yeah, it's a little out there, but hear me out. It's very possible that after all these years of hearing news outlets dragging his son and the Stab movies portraying his son as the next Michael Myers, he finally snaps. Evidence. Because I know you're probably wondering, what proof do we have? Well, I'm glad you asked. The only Ghostface costume that's encased is that of Billy Loomis.
My number 2 suspect, I think it might be Tony Revolori. And the reason why is there's a few, actually. 2 good reasons why. 1, I think he might be the Mickey in this movie. We see that they're in college. It seems like it's mirroring Scream 2 a little bit. And I think he might be the next Mickey. My reasons why? We see a poster in the background of Vertigo. And biggest clue is his shirt. I think at first it's a red herring. I think he's going to fake his death like Roman did in Scream 3. Because we see in the trailer, he is dead in the bathtub. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a red herring where he shows up at the end and he is the actual killer. But if you look at his t-shirt, you'll see it's actually a Dario Argento movie where the main plot is a masked killer is doing a little bit of voyeurism where he's taking pictures of someone and taking pictures of like victims and attacks and stuff. And this masked killer is trying to set up the main character as being the killer themselves. And so this person is getting driven crazy. And I think that's going to be a kind of like the plot of this movie where they're maybe setting up Sam to think she's the one that's causing these murders.
Next, we have Josh Sagara. Now, I don't really know what his role in this movie is going to be yet, but we have seen him play a villain. He was in season 5 of Arrow.
That's right. Yeah, he played Prometheus. Mm-hmm. And we saw his acting chops, which were phenomenal, by the way. He is one of the best people to cast as a villain.
Now, is he going to be like Derek?
It could be a red herring again. Like I talked about how Tony Revolori might be the mirror image to Mickey. What if Josh Sagara is the Derek of this movie, Derek from Scream 2, who a lot of people thought was going to be the killer, and then in the end, he ends up getting killed. Now, number 3. What if it's Sam Psychologist? Now, hear this out. It is played by Harry Czerny, who is a very well-known actor to play villainous roles. We saw him in Mission Impossible, Ready or Not. And I think he might be him. And it kind of makes sense because Sam is going to the psychiatrist, spilling pretty much everything about her history. So, what if it's him? And I think there's 2 scenarios that could play out to why. Scenario number 1. I think being a psychiatrist, he has individuals coming in and out of his office. He finds the right ones. It's kind of like Mrs. Loomis, right? Where in Scream 2,
right?
Yeah, she sought out Mickey, and she actually gets him to be involved. So what if the psychiatrist is actually seeking out a different person, and he finds his Mickey, which might be his Tony Revolori in this case, and tries to use him as an individual, or maybe he has 2. And so there's actually a 3-killer scenario where it's the psychiatrist and then 2 Ghostface as well.
What if the psychologist was working with Stu this whole time? So he doesn't die when that TV falls on him, right?
Right.
And he ends up in some loony bin or something.
Yeah.
And this doctor happens to work at said loony bin. And he kind of gets close to him, understands the motives, understands more about how to beat Ghostface. I mean, that's a logical option.
I think that's a great idea, a great theory, because what if it's true? he worked on this case for so long, and he has access to evidence, right? Being a doctor, a psychiatrist, he probably has that access, became obsessed with the case to the point where it's no longer fulfilling. He's a collector. He's collecting this stuff years and years and years. And now he finally is like, I need more. It's not enough for him. So he actually wants to be a part of the Scream history and puts himself in there by sicking people out and killing, and especially getting close to Sam like that.
So what if the mask? You know how in the bag when she's holding the mask, it's all like broken, you can see.
Yeah.
What if that is because his face is messed up from the TV? You know, maybe he got burns, electrical burns or something.
Yeah.
And that the mask is really just a reflection of his face.
For Stu.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's very, very possible. There is also the theory. Now, Harry Zerny, if you look at him, he kind of does look like Mickey. So what if he's Mickey's dad? We don't know. There's a possibility of all these different scenarios, for sure.
All right. Now, this is the one I think a lot of people suspect, and it's Tara. Why not? Because she has the history, you know, with...
Oh, being friends with Amber.
Yeah.
But there is the possibility that it could be Tara. And a lot of people are speculating because of the trailer. She does kind of smirk a little bit when she's looking up. She's like being held onto by her hand, and she kind of like gives a little smirk. Now, yeah, that is sus, right? But given the history of Scream 5, right? She's very close friends with Amber. She's the only person to survive an opening scene. That's an opening scene attack by Ghostface. And maybe she was working with Tara and Richie. I mean, she is the one that got them to the house, Stu's house at the end.
I mean, that's likely. That could be, but
Yeah.
why wouldn't they have revealed that in the last movie, though? You think they would have...
Yeah. Maybe Tara just saw, like, oh, it didn't work out in my favor. You know what I mean? I don't know.
And changed sides and pretended like she wasn't involved.
Right. And now let's go to our next one. Your favorite. This is probably who you think it might be. Stu.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dewey.
Dewey is dead. He's dead.
That's what they want you to think.
I wouldn't technically rule that out, right? Because
Saying.
if you think about Stu, we do see where he gets his head crushed with the TV, right? And electrocuted and stuff. But Matthew Lillard has said he doesn't feel like his character's dead. And the biggest clue came from Scream 5. When Dewey talked about Stu, he talked about Stu in present tense. Not like, oh, Stu was a nut job. He said, Stu's a nut job. So, like, if you really listen to that, he talks about him in present tense. So, it is possible Stu is still alive. And even when Richie is watching Stab 8 on YouTube, you do see a side thing that says, is Stu Macher still alive? So, why would the writers of Scream hint at it if it wasn't true? I mean, there's a possibility we have the encased Billy costume. Maybe that love of Billy is still there and he's trying to seek revenge on Gail and Sid. I don't know.
But since Sid's not there...
Gail's his target? It could be anybody. But like I said, it could be the psychiatrist who's working with Stu, and then he kind of created his own little cult. So guys, thank you so much for checking this out and listening to us talk about Scream and who we think the killers could be. And if we're right, oh man, that's going to feel great.